It helps when you unmute yourself. Hello, Claudia.
Good morning, Denny.
Oh, we're excited to be here. Good Health by Claudia podcast with me, Denny Schaffer, a production of Denny Radio. We're at episode 65. Yes. Round of applause for that. It is. It's very exciting. We're thankful to everybody that watches. We're thankful to everybody that shares.
Yeah.
This information is so important. In the next couple of weeks, we've got some really good discussion topics that we're going to have.
Yeah.
So please don't be shy. Share the Good Health by Claudia podcast. Tell people about it and, keep our numbers growing. So we're very thankful for that.
And utilize the information that we're sharing, right?
Absolutely.
Put it into action.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many people out there that are having a really hard time with health issues.
Yeah.
And
way too many.
And listen, sometimes I'm self-inflicting myself. Sometimes I get off my regiment and all right, to be honest, I was really hungry before we did the podcast today and I had a Chipotle beef stick. But I did. Claudia is upstairs and I'm down here eating it real quick because I didn't want her to see it. Okay. I was really hungry. I haven't had my lunch yet. It's coming after the podcast. Anyway, the point is this, just like you say every time, and it's really good advice, everything in moderation. If you're going to do stuff, if you're ever going to slide, you just don't make it a practice of doing it all the time.
You do it once in a great while.
Right. That's what I mean.
You do it once in a great while.
That's what I meant. Once in a great while.
Yes. When people are mindful every day about what they're eating, listening to their body, understanding that our body is telling us it likes food or it doesn't like food.
Right.
And it's important that we listen to that because that's the language of the body. So we all do the best we can. Once in a great while, if you eat something that you might not, that you shouldn't, your body will tell you.
There you go.
So as long as we're being as mindful as we can throughout the day, as much as we can, that to me is what's important. Walking it in baby steps.
Agreed.
You're doing a great job.
And
man.
listen, since you and I started this podcast, for I don't know how long it's been, and since you and I have been working together for years, this is the first time in my life I have not ballooned. Yeah. Since you introduced me to the book of Eating to Your Blood Type, once I understood what was good for my body, what was bad for my body, it was a game changer. And this is the first time in my life I haven't yo-yoed. I've stayed
and
right
you look
at
terrific.
Thank you. Other than I'm old. I'm staying.
I'm older than you, so I'm a spring chicken. You're a spring.
Yeah, but you look better than I do. Your hair is awesome. Anyway, I usually go from 205 to 250, and then I get mad at myself and I go on some fad diet and I lose all the weight again, and then I get lazy and I go right. No, I've been 205 for the last probably 5 years since we've been working together. So anyway, so thank you for that.
Well, and you're doing a great job. So thank you. And also we have wonderful turkey sticks. They're perfect for type A's. We sell a ton of them for A's, just so you know.
Well, when I come in this week, guess what I'm going to get?
Yeah, the
turkey sticks.
So anyway.
All right, here we go. It's episode 65. We have a guest and he's probably like, okay, people, I'm ready to get on. It's Jason Hunolt from True Grace Nutrition. He's the educator. He's trained in Chinese medicine and has been in the industry for a number of years.
Yeah.
Let's welcome Jason to the podcast. Hello, Jason.
How you doing?
Good morning.
Good.
So I would say that being a startup, we all wear a lot of hats. I'm an account executive at this iteration of the True Grace startup, 3.5 years or so. And due to my background, I end up lecturing and doing vastly more education than, say, the average account executive. I've worn that hat in the past. It's just something that I'm able to accommodate given my background.
Okay, so True Grace Nutrition is fairly new.
Very. It's the intellectual child of Christina Hall, facilitated through her husband, Brian Hall, the CEO. It's, both veterans, 30, 25 years respectively, Brian being over 30, Christy coming on to 25 of this industry, working for a number of the other companies like myself and the other people involved at True Grace. Part of that mission, part of their mission, which I can touch on, of healing both people and planet, is also to keep the integrity that founded the health food industry
Yes.
within the hands of those that really care. It's not so much about turns and margin; those are important. It's about the quality and the integrity, the transparency of the raw materials in the
In the
products.
in the product. And that was when Jason and I met. Again, he was someone that I immediately resonated with, because he's got, the integrity is of what he carries in his heart for our industry. I mean, this is what we need to get back to. And Jason is truly one of those core people that really care about the industry. He lives by what he believes, and I respect that deeply. By the way,
Are those all health books behind you?
Boy, if I were to move, it goes on and on. I'm a little eclectic, I guess, and then actually, the foundation of my
let's yeah.
herbal maturation or maturation in the health food industry became after my initial foray through Chinese medicine, which was a byproduct of a mentor relationship I had with a brilliant man. I still am in contact with Akeem Scott. He's an ND. But I worked at back in the early days of this, well, not to maybe Claudia, but earlier days of this industry before it boomed. I was hired by Eclectic Institute. Eclectic took its name from the eclectic physicians,
Yes,
and John Uri Lloyd, et cetera. So I have a lot of those books back here. I have a great many of the medieval alchemists books, Kabbalistic tomes. I've got a number of Hebrew texts. I'm a bit of a mystic, a bit of a philosopher, and a lot of a herbalist and permaculture influenced human at this point in my life.
Okay. All right. So where do you want to start?
well, first let's start with you have a wonderful background in Chinese medicine, and I really respect that, because learning that philosophy is a specialty in itself, or a skill, if you will. So tell us about your being trained in Chinese medicine, how you can bring that, how that helps when you're guiding people and what you're doing with
Sure. What's beautiful about Chinese medicine, and of course its roots in Taoism, and what the classic Chinese medicine versus what people refer to as traditional. So it is classic being Taoist derived, more direct influence. TCM being more post Mao Zedong or Dung. It's about 10% from the people that taught me of what that Taoist derived or origin is. 5-element theory versus 8 humors is a difference also in a diagnostic paradigm. What 5 elements?
Wait a minute, Jason, I just want to make sure. Do you understand what he just said?
No.
Okay. So remember,
Not even close. I'm
we-
just nodding like
yeah.
pretend like I know.
So we need to bring it down to very simplistic, because people don't know what that means that you just said.
So the all medical paradigms are based on a theory, an underlying theory that you're able to view from. What ancient paradigms like 5-element had to do is utilize observable components. So aspects of nature, elements in this case would be fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. In the West, most people are more familiar with the Platonic worldview, which would be, fire, water, air, and earth. Those two actually marry very well together. But what's happened is plants are put into that model, people and foods are put into that model. And through its lens, you're able to diagnose empirically what's going on chemically physiologically in a human being, in distinction with the environment, which is also made up of those same elements, if that makes it easier to understand.
It does.
And just to give a simple example, if somebody comes in with a cold and they're mucousy and they're snotting, that would be considered a dampness in Chinese.
It could
medicine.
be, and then there could be nuance to that. It could be yellower, leaning us towards a heat, and then it could be whiter, leaning us towards a cool or cold energetic commodity, and that's going to lead us then to potential plant
right
fixes or mitigators that will be able to work in opposition to each of those qualities.
Yes. Does that make sense?
That does.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so in talking about what I brought today, I brought some of the Maltese because I think the Maltese are very nice. I like how they have been part of the formulation are the mushroom activities, which I think are extremely important. I'm happy to see there's so much education coming forth because it's always been there, but now it's coming out more about mushroom activity and what they're doing. And you've been working with mushrooms for many years, I believe, haven't you?
Absolutely. It's the reason I came to work for True Grace. We were still living in Southern Oregon during 2019, is it now? 20, that transition to 20 with the COVID and all the crazy shenanigans that took place around that. I had been working I'd moved my family from Troy, Ohio, about an hour north of here. We had a small farm, a permaculture model farm, and moved out west. I left the largest company in our space as it was purchased by one of the big global corporations, and it didn't sit well with me. And my wife was really inclined to get back to the Pacific Northwest. As herbalists, it's kind of like heaven on earth for people of our ilk, and dashing about the woods is, second to none in the American experience. But so we went out there. I worked for a professional line, so a doctors only based line that was really centered around integrative cancer care. So we were servicing MDs, chiropractors, and naturopaths as well, et cetera. But there was a really strong and rare connection with the integrative MD. So it was really neat to be able to see it, herbs and really well-researched formulas be married to a tradition that usually scorns them, and get some really neat feedback and anecdotes in terms of their use with human beings in a Western model. Then Brian, I'm sorry, came. He and Christy were getting going from D2C, which is direct to consumer products. They wanted to get a foothold in the Midwest and asked me about what I thought about their product. The mushrooms, due to my integrative cancer research, and mushrooms play such a huge part in those treatments, wood grown fruit bodies, hot water extracted, are the particular medicine, if you will, of tradition that you'll find in the materia medicas. So it's a known commodity. X grams is equivalent to Y milligrams of constituency. And that's really important to have a known commodity when you're dealing with a Western practitioner who's looking for indications and contraindications with some of the other medicines they may be using. But from my perspective as a practitioner of Oriental and Chinese medicine, when I was dealing with both my sister and my father with cancer, my father passed. My sister, who utilized the modality that I use, is still in remission some 26 years later.
Wow.
Wow.
And I attributed that to the fact that I was able to quantify through a materia medica very specific amounts. And I was able to work with an MD in those days, in the late 90s, early 2000s, when there weren't really such numbers of integrated practitioners.
Right. Right. So
Go ahead.
Speaking specifically about the mushroom activity.
Sure.
Okay. So tell us what a fruiting body means. What does that mean when we're talking about mushrooms?
Well, Basidiomycetes is the whole organism, or perfect fungi. There's imperfect fungi like molds and mildews. And then there's perfect fungi, which are the things that we're all familiar with from either the grocery store these days, or if you're out in the woods often, growing off of tree stumps, dead trees, off soil under trees. And that is the procreative organ of the whole organism, Basidiomycetes. So that's imperative for people to distinguish. It's like the apple on an apple tree, where all the energy of the apple tree is pushed into after flowering in order to procreate the species with new tree. So it's got a wide variety of characteristics and compounds that the rest of the tree doesn't have for the purpose of procreation. Thus, so that's where we are with the mushroom fruit body. And the substrate, just like human beings, that it grows on is going to color the character of that fruit.
So the fruiting body is when all that energy is culminated in that particular mushroom.
Yes.
Whether it's chaga, lion's mane, whatever it might be, reishi, maitake, all these different mushrooms. So tell us what mushrooms are in these formulations.
Gosh, you've got the 40 plus there. That's a blend of mushrooms, and you may have to read off some of them to me, but cordyceps is one of the first ones.
I would like to, but the font is way too small.
It is, isn't it? I should have them in front of me.
Get my magnifying glass, because I was going to read some of them. I'm like, I can't even see them.
Yeah, you've got cordyceps and turkey tail, maitake, reishi, that transitions into, that's the men's. The 40 plus is dealing with more graceful aging. Like in the women's, you'll notice tremella has been added. Shiitake. Shiitake is one that doesn't get as much
women's right here
notice as it was in the past. Our industry today, because of some of the different influences that are coming in, that was
a nice way to put it, by the way. That was a nice way to put it.
You don't see ginseng, you don't see echinacea, you don't see golden seal, and some people will claim it's because golden seal and United Plant Savers being on an endangered species list, but propagation is prolific, and it's available without harming wild stands, as are these mushrooms. But shiitake is a neat one that a lot of us take for granted, because you might fry it with your potatoes on Sunday, like I do, because it's so flavorful and tasty. You find it in a lot of meal dishes, which incidentally is how a lot of the Oriental cultures utilize their herbal medicines. They consume them with their meals, according to seasons, according to physiological condition, according to environmental conditions. There's all these factors come into play in that 5-element paradigm I talked about, but that's really how they utilize them. So this formulation, the True Grace, what they're doing with these multis is actually profound. I mean, you've got a couple different versions. You've got the men's 40 and the men's regular, and then you've got the 50. But what you've got here is 3 products in one, in terms of the men's and the men's 40, the women's and the women's 40. Then you've got this 50 plus, which I really call 5, almost 5.5 products in one, due to the amount of materials and components that Christy and her R&D team have put together in one easy. I mean, that 50 plus is 2 miniature caplets in size.
They're easy to
Tablets.
swallow. A lot of customers have commented. Yes, they're easy
Yes.
to take. So let's start with because I just brought the woman's 40 and the 50 and the men's 40 and 50. So generally speaking, so the woman's 40 is more for hormone balancing and stuff. There's things in there for that.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of the women's 40 is going to be longevity, immunity, beauty. You're not really focusing on some of the pre-menopausal conditions.
Right.
So the 40 plus is leading us towards perimenopause and beyond.
Yep.
And so the mushrooms are there supporting systemically as well as beauty. Shiitake is a neat one, for instance. I keep mentioning it, but there's studies right now on it in conjunction with potential regeneration of total tissue in regards to the brain,
Wow,
which is really neat.
Yeah.
It's not just what lion's mane does with its blood-brain barrier being crossed and some of its other actions. Shiitake is actually potentially being noticed for its regeneration of actual tissue, which is really neat.
That's very
tremella.
cool. Yes.
Yeah, it's neat. Tremella is for beauty, and maitake, which is also in that 40 plus, is metabolic or metabolism concern. So blood sugar, fat, blood pressure, these items are part of the metabolism, and they're metabolic disorders often in the American post 40 due to eating habits, lifestyle, exercise, or lack of exercise.
Right. So then the 50 for women then has a profile for helping through menopausal stuff. Is that what?
Well, it's really more of a post. And I would say it's more focused on the longevity component. There's an inclusion of a product that more and more people are going to hear about in the upcoming couple of years. I give that 50 plus to my 14-year-old. Reason I started transitioning into our Christy made her True Littles Kids Gummy, which includes Ludamax, but that brings something of importance. The 50 plus and the kids True Littles are two primary examples of what she does with the name True, but she's giving you patented versions, so things that were human studied in vivo that are really showing tremendous results. So in the case of the 50 plus, you've got ergothioneine as Ergomax, a patented human studied version of ergothioneine, one of the components of a properly grown mushroom fruit body in nature. All right. So lion's mane is actually one of the higher, has one of the highest amounts of ergothioneine. Porcini, the highest, oyster thereafter. But what ergothioneine does is it protects the telomeres. They're like the ends of the ladder. Like if you were to hold a ladder sideways and twist it, there's your DNA. The telomeres are the ends, like the caps to that. And oxidative stress is the thing that we all experience in our life through jobs, foods, exercise, all these different things, environment, that starts to fray and deteriorate those ends of the telomere. What's that allow for? The eventual mutation of those DNA strands on the inside that leads to inflammatory age-related diseases, etc.
Right.
Well, that ergothioneine, which should be in our soil, you should be getting it through a variety of foods that you consume. It should have been in mom's breast milk. But due to our agronomical model, we're killing off a lot of those microfungal and microbacterial agencies that are probiotic in their effects on human life as well as plant life. They break down minerals in the soil so they're at a reachable size so that it can be absorbed by the human being that in turn consumes the animal or the plants. So that 50 plus has the 5 milligram dose that was used in human studies in that
Oh,
in that
wow.
tablet. It's got 250 milligrams of lion's mane. So you're getting even more ergothioneine, but all the other benefits of lion's mane. The lion's mane was wood grown, so it's getting all the extra beta glucose, so it produces beta glucan, which you actually have receptors for in your gut. So your small intestine, we hear about it with dog food commercials these days. You know, it's you actually have receptors for beta glucan, not alpha glucan as starch, which is what you get from grain grown mycelial products that aren't separated from that mycelium. Now, there's great manufacturers out there. There's a lady in Utah who I have highest respect for. She'll grow mycelium product on actual broth. So it's 100% mycelium. If you find yourself attracted to some of the voluminous research that is, thanks to some trailblazers in that industry, there's a lot of great research on mycelium coming out, but the traditional product is and always has been the fruit grown on wood and soil, right? So there's distinguishing characteristics here that are really important. This vitamin is the fruit body grown on wood, hot water extracted like we use in Chinese medicine. The ergothioneine is a product of that's been concentrated to 5 milligrams and added to it. But also in that 50 plus, you're getting CoQ10. And we know that that's something, an antioxidant on the mitochondrial level. It operates in the pericardium almost exclusively in some ways. Its activity. You've got bacopa, another fantastic herb from Ayurveda for the memory.
Yes.
You've got 60 micrograms of K2 is MK7. People were spending $20 for 50. So Christy put together a product that you can get in 2 little tablets a day, easy to swallow, about 5 times more than you'd
a whole lot of benefit in it. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we didn't really talk much about the men's 50 plus.
But I'd like to real quick
because we're about out of time. Because I'm a little 50 plus. So why would I take this, and how's it going to help me, Jason?
Hey, it's the same product at that level, the 50 plus men's and women's. The only real difference between those two, we both need the same things after 50, honestly. There's it's about 200 micrograms less vitamin or more vitamin A in the men's and 10 milligrams less of the chelated magnesium. So it's not meant to be a multi-mineral. The molecules are too big. It'd be too many tablets to have a full multi-mineral in either men's or women's. However, zinc and magnesium have been added due to the 600 enzymatic pathways between those two that make the body operate optimally. So what Christy is trying to do is provide you with a 1 a day or a 2 a day, depending on your desires, to accommodate systemic health and balance, so that any other things you add to it just add to your picture where you need it most.
There you go.
I have a feeling that product's going to end up in your pile.
It's going right now, right over.
That product's not going back to the store.
Hey,
that's it. No, I'm glad you're going to do that with food or without.
You can do it without, because it is a yeast dual fermented product. Yep. I take everything with my eggs in the morning. It's the phospholipid in eggs helps everything get in there. I like everything with food personally, but that could be taken on an empty stomach if so desired, which is helpful for traveling.
Awesome. All right, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Really good stuff.
That was good. So
thank you for your time.
Wonderful multi, great for people to try, and so much added benefit with those mushrooms. So thank you so much. We both appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you.
And I'm sending you a big hug.
All right, back at you, Claudia. Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you, Denny.
Same here. Take care. All right, there you go. Yep. Good stuff. Yeah. Hey, by the way, all these available.
Yeah.
You know where? Claudia's Health Food, right there, Seco Road. You can call them too if you're you know, if you're not around Toledo, you just,
And we're all about education.
Yeah.
You know, for
Yeah.
for us at the store, it's about helping people become more understanding,
yeah.
wiser about how to take care of their health. You know, there's a lot of tools on the market now.
Well, I know in the past we did an entire podcast to just mushrooms.
Yeah.
And that's something that is, you know, if you want to go back and look at some of the old podcasts,
Yep.
that was really informative,
Yes.
and they're awesome. I mean, they
Yeah.
just are. So,
Yeah.
all right. The phone number to the store is 419-474-2400. There you go.
Thank you.
Call, we'll ship it. We'll
Yeah.
send it to you if you want to try some of these.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
we're out of time. Claudia, like always, I give you the last word.
Well, thank you. Just, you know, I'm always going to remind people, walk it in baby steps, put your heart into it, become as mindful as you can. You'll be so happy that you did. How many people come in the store and say to me, they wish they knew about nutrition, excuse me, and how to embrace their good health. They wish they knew this all years ago. We hear it all day long. So put your arms around it, man. Nature's Pharmacy is amazing and diverse and very sophisticated, and it's a beautiful pharmacy that we really want more Americans to learn about and understand. So be well with yourself and just do the best you can each day, and keep the faith. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Peace.